family, acquaintances, colleagues, lovers, enemies, strangers, and other assorted stakeholders and passive or unwitting observers. My name is Host Eric. I am the host of Talking with Funny People and history's most important person. That's right. It was a close battle, but I beat out Jesus just barely for importance. Doesn't mean I'm better, just more important a little bit. Jesus is, it's probably because Jesus is too good to be important. Importance being a silly human construct that Jesus couldn't possibly be constrained by. Lucifer also not possibly be constrained by importance. Regardless, hello, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Hello, Lucifer. And hello to you as well, person who might be listening, but whom I didn't name. If you don't exist, that's fine. I named you anyway. I've referenced you anyway. I should have said referenced. The wrong word. Happy Sunday to you too. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. And remember, today is Sunday, which means the trash needs to go to the street tonight. Is everything different now? Or is this, do we know about now by looking at, say, cyclical explanations? I just was watching a video a little while ago about this question of, well, this guy made a video basically said, there are three, he's been reading various books, and his takeaway is, there are three key components to understanding our world right now. He began the video by basically saying, as somebody who grew up in the 90s and 2000s, so for me, I grew up, I'm 20 years older than this guy. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. It's like, it sure seemed like the world was a simpler place, that we knew things different. Things that I've observed a lot too, that, boy, our relationship with knowledge is shockingly different nowadays than it used to be, or than it felt like it was prior to, let's say, prior to 2001, but you could say like prior to 2000. 2001 is a good enough date to mark the changing point, right? Things have changed dramatically since then, and what was the changing point then, namely 9/11 and the Iraq War, while it's had lasting impacts, it's not nearly, in some ways, as significant as just the development in tech stuff and etc. has been. Just the impact of the internet. Let me get a jacket. It's a little chilly in here. Even though it's super hot outside. I'm just looking for a light jacket. Can I turn on this light for a second? Alright, this is the jacket. That's fine. Sorry to bother you. Okay. So I'm going back in there where I can read what's going on a little bit better. I think as I'm musing about it right now, I would say that who is Michael? I don't know who Michael is, but part of why I think 9/11 is the line of differentiation from a fairly placid, understandable world that preceded it into this increasingly complicated relationship that humans have with information. Because that's in particular what what I find destabilizing about the status quo um, over the world that I remember from before 2001 that many of us experienced. Who's being humbled by God? And who is Michael? Two important questions that I would like SeaWorld to answer. Oh, Michael Maynard, I see. Okay, well, I'm sure Michael Maynard's just joking around anyway. How do I feel about Russia? I mean, Russia's contributing in a lot of ways to the uh, the difficult relationship that we have with information because China and Russia both comprise as national forces, as forces of nation states, not necessarily in, in keeping with their individual citizens. They are forces that try to undermine the habits and institutions of a free and civil society because they aren't fundamentally that, you know? So, Russia, I blame mostly on Putin, whereas China is more deeply embedded than that, you know? But regardless, we have, at some point, people became, and this started to happen a little before 2001 too, but the sort of more or less civil relationship between the two parties that that typified most of the post-war 20th century um, eroded as strategists got better and better at purposing their rhetoric at riling up the base, finding wedge issues, creating irrational passion as a mechanism for attaining political power instead of instead of something a little bit more tempered than that. It's not like American politics have ever been uh, fair and fair and noble from the get go. In fact, our earliest political shit was the most underhanded it was ever. People just telling overt lies about their opponents and all kinds of shit, you know. But I have a demon attached to me and it won't leave, says Josh Chef. Well, have you considered perhaps turning off the air conditioning? England has done the same, so do we blame that on Charles? What if people do not want to be humbled? Is that a priority for people? I don't think people generally want to be humbled. I do think, however, that it's important for people to go through a process of humbling themselves on occasion, more or less because it's the most consistent with our actual experience, which is to say that we should experience life as affording us like that it infused in or intertwined or threaded into the underlying foundation of life. There's this uh, there's this belief that we're more responsible for things than we are, good things and bad things. I think it's wise. Humility is a way of acknowledging that many things are out of our control and are the response of either happenstance, the universe, good luck, or whatever you want to call it. You might shorthand that to God, or you might be opposed to that particular kind of language. But I think it's definitely the case that that respecting the power of randomness, respecting the fact that at the end of the day, we all have the opportunity to live our lives. Uh, it's predicated on a kind of stability of both environment and political or cultural societal ecosystem or whatever that is not always guaranteed. There are plenty of places in the world where it doesn't have that, and that it may not. We may not persist in this state of civilization forever. The state of civilization we're enjoying right now. It would definitely seem, for example, that uh, the current generation is not better off than their parents' generation, right? The Zoomers are not better off than the Gen Xers, and in fact, that's probably been the case since the silent generation. The silent generation was the last generation that was better off than their parents because for like the both the real earning slash spending power of my parents working for the U.S. military in Europe in the '60s was, massively more than the equivalent today of somebody working equivalent jobs. Wow, Uruguay, nice goal, good goal. Uruguay looks way better than Panama. Uruguay looks good. Natasha says we transferred over to hell on earth. I don't think it's quite hell on earth yet. I mean, things are. I feel unsure about the future. Right. This video I was watching right before I started the stream that kind of made me want to start the stream. It was saying the guy said I haven't talked to anybody who thinks we're headed in the right direction. That the world's we're moving towards utopia. Everyone seems to be saying we're moving towards dystopia. Well, I don't necessarily. I'm gonna say not necessarily. I'm kind of the jury's out on it. I think there are forces moving us towards utopian directions and forces moving us towards dystopian directions. I'm friends with the monster that's under my bed. Get along with the voices inside of my head, trying to save me. Keep holding your breath. You think that I'm crazy? Yeah, you think that I'm crazy, but really, I'm just Natasha CG. L to the period, to the O to the period, to the R to the period, to the A to the period, to the N to the period. Texas Longhorn Channel says moving close to World War III. Well, that seems to be one of the consensus, what you might term global dread, by which I mean not dread about all the things in your life, but dread about the state of the globe. One reason why people express dread about the state of the globe links to sort of escalating forces of war, and that we're moving towards any number of possible sources of erupting in like a nuclear war with either Russia or China, but potentially even Iran, Israel, or North Korea could get in the mix. So that's one angle of doomsday concern slash what are we heading towards? I think that's really the basic question behind these kind of musings, right? Is where is the world heading? I think people feel like they have the least grasp on where the world's heading that they've ever had because they should have the least grasp on where the world's heading that they've ever had. The most new and unpredictable shit's going on now by far than ever has gone on before. The transformative technologies now are more transformative than even the previous examples of the most transformative technologies, like the printing press. The printing press, transformative though it may have been, was still way slower to transform than the internet. So it's understandable, it's correct to feel or to affirm that we know less now about where we're headed than we ever have known before. That's going to cause people naturally to feel a little bit unsafe in their muggity meow. You notice that the days are getting shorter. Roofer till death. Uh, the days are getting shorter, but that's just because we just passed the solstice, the summer solstice. So another Joe. Yay! Mad Butcher heard voices. So did Mary Magdalene James. Right. I'm sure a lot of people heard voices when we came out of the womb. Have you ever met Lil Easy Youngster from East Side Colton Gang? No, I never have. I have no idea what East Side Colton Gang is. Rupert Till Death says University is getting shorter. Brism McPot says all hail Eric. Let's not all hail Eric. Let's just all enjoy his wonderful live stream. Let's all interactively enjoy his wonderful live stream. Doesn't that sound like a fun friends gang kind of thing to do? Because remember, around here, our other name besides talking with famous people is the Fun Friends Gang. Where fun friends do fun things that are safe and good. That are safe and family friendly. So a lot of people think, they have a bad connotation with the word gangs. They don't want gang activity in their neighborhood. But we here at the Fun Friends Gang are trying to reclaim that word. Being in a gang doesn't have to be mean or bad. We don't need to hail people. Unless they're driving a cab. Then you're helping get rid of horrible Uber. Just take a cab already. Where is this dripping? Oh, I know. Never mind. All right, we're going to water this plant. It's getting its second water of the day. Because the soil lets the water soak into the ground so slowly, because it's very heavy clay, a lot of clay in the soil. I need to water it. It fills up here, like the top. And then it'll take a while. So I have to move it over here now, because it's gonna be a while before it soaks down into the dirt. So it's not getting quite as much water as I'd like it to get, due to the fact that it's not in that deep of a pool. This one's in a better pool, but it's unfortunately even worse in terms of the clay. The amount of clay versus dirt, You can see how slowly it drains. Hi there. Thank you, Brism McPot. Appreciate it. Very kind of you. So now we've got this one, and it's got the water there. That one is planted in a better setup, but this one is planted best. This one I did the most pre-work before planting it. Basically, I applied everything I had learned in planting the previous three. Can you say, I can say, whatever it is, Photogite? Photogite. What nutrients did I use? Well, it's planted in steer manure blend, and I do have some tomato food that I put on these ones over here. So just go like, no, I got water on there. Let's give that a little more water. I'm going to turn it off over here. Circulate the soil. Oh, Sean Willis, I'm not overwatering them. Believe me. It's because I know I'm not overwatering them, because, like, if I don't water it more than once a day, it starts looking a little bit wilty. Because, like I said, these first two, especially, which I didn't do a very good job of planting them. So they're kind of just in not that much potting soil and mostly a lot of clay, which doesn't let the water soak through very well. So they get wilty if I don't water them a lot. Those ones over there should be fine. They don't necessarily need as much water because they've got more non-clay soil to work through before they get to just the clay soil. All right, so we did that. Good job for us. Congratulations, everybody. You get a prize. What's your prize? Me telling you congratulations. All right. Now, we'll go into this room here. There you see Cameron, who's being a cat. And
letting me pet the cat. That's the special part.
That's a sweet kitty.
Yeah. How is it out there? Is it buggy yet?
Yeah, it's getting buggy for sure, but it's still quite warm outside.
Mm-hmm. So you're on a live stream?
Yeah, I started streaming a little bit ago. No, it's Sean. Trust me, I know the difference between asking for more water and saying you've got too much water. Trust me. You may be a professional grower, but I guarantee you, Sean Willis, unless you're a decent amount older than me, I have grown weed for longer than you have. So just zip it. Cheddar, yes, says, can I talk about Mr. Hawk? First name, Mike. I could. I could talk additionally about Mr. Coochie. First name, Mike. Or Uchi, sorry. I could talk about Anita. Last name, Dick and me. I could talk about Mike. Last name, is everywhere. Hi, Zen. But I don't want to talk to those people. Those people, it's like everybody knows them, but nobody is them. Hugh, Jas. I don't want to talk about Mr. Dover, Benjamin, first name. I don't mind talking about Mike. And to believe it's not butter, that's fine. Did I watch the USA versus England cricket match? Of course not. Who watches cricket? Nobody watches cricket, okay?
Oh my God.
It's like, you got to be incredibly hard up for some sort of entertainment to watch cricket.
The thing is, if you went on what is it, a walkabout, Eric?
A walkabout.
If we went for a fortnight walkabout through Australia or New Zealand, that just might be the best thing that we could find to do. Is go to
walkabout. I could be like that.
Hunting for the best meat pie we can find.
Have you any meat pies? Would you like to give me one of your meat pies? That's what it sounds like you're spending any time in England.
The Australian meat pies are the bomb, though, to be honest. They're great.
What is this? Is this an Australian meat pie? You like my blazer? Thanks. I got it at Blazers R Us, the Blazer Emporium. I like the fact that you call it a blazer instead of a jacket or a coat. The World Cup is happening in America. Why would they hold the Cricket World Cup in America? Tuesday. Tuesday. They say Tuesday or they say Tuesday. Can you make it up to Northamptonshire on Tuesday?
I think there's no H. I think it's Northam.
Northamptonshire on Tuesday.
Righto. You have to mumble a lot, too.
Can I see your fanny? In England, that means vagina.
Have you got any pants?
Have you got a fanny?
I've lost my pants.
I really don't want to be singing God Save the Queen. I mean King. I want God Save the Queen again. I'm not really liking this King Charles. I prefer to have, if we must, a King William.
I don't want Indian food. I want East Indian food. That's something you say in England.
Pick me up some curry from the takeout. And we're going to takeaway. Can you get takeaway from the local curry shop?
Have you got a fag?
Yeah, they do call. They believe it's okay to call cigarettes by a homosexual slur. Only 5% of the UK speak like that. Well, sure. They have a variety of accents, okay? There's also like blah 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 guy, right? Like blah 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 blah. Well, we don't have all this sort of black people happening here in the House of Lords. Blah 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 blah. British people talk like that sometimes.
Benny Hill was fun to listen to.
Was he?
Yeah, did you ever watch Benny Hill, or was that not something on that your?
No, I watched it some, but
He had a funny voice.
I
Kinda handed
didn't
up.
really like the show though very much. I never quite understood why this was supposed to be funny. Like,
No, it wasn't funny. It just was. It was back in the 2, 4, 5, 7, 28. We only had a few choices, and that Benny Hill was watched is only because there was so much more boring stuff on the other stations.
well, it would always be like ladies in lingerie chasing around, chasing around Benny Hill or
Yeah.
being chased around by Benny Hill.
Well, that's the reason, because men come home from their job and they want to think about the lingerie and get all horny, and there are a lot of shows made just around bikinis. What about the whole show Baywatch? There's a whole friggin' channel, as you know.
Yeah.
All it is no acting, no good lines at all, and just chicks in bikinis or one piece bikinis.
Gate? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that-
What does gate mean? When you said, that's when I sounded like Tiffany? Okay, fine. Fair enough. If you want to talk like you're from Liverpool, you've got to talk like this. Or it could be a lady, a British lady. They talk their own way of talking. Like, have you seen the Evening Standard? Oh, look at here! What we got? We got turnips and mish. We got turnips and mish. That's something that British people might say. This is my friend Cameron from Los Angeles.
Hello all. When I went to Scotland, it was either Scotland or England at a hotel room where my brother and I, when we stayed there in like '93, we didn't have money for a lot of hotel rooms. We were at hostels and things. But one or two times we had a television set, and I was all the way across the globe. And guess what was on the hotel television set that we were just talking about just now?
Baywatch.
Baywatch, American Baywatch was on it. After that, each country would have its own stupid version of Israeli Baywatch and French Baywatch, because everyone figured out, that's the Benny Hill of the 90s, the 80s, 90s.
Say moor boots. Say moor boots. I don't understand.
What's up, Zin and or your fave Molly? And all other friends who are in the chat there.
It means butt. Gyat means butt, your fave Molly. Not gate. Gyat. All right. It also means God damn. Bye, your fave Molly. You also have a good one. Have the best one ever. Currently, Uruguay is having a pretty good game. C minus on what? What are you grading as a C minus? Your day? You're having a C minus day, barely passing. I'd say I'm having a solid B day, maybe even a B plus.
Boba Fett's been expressing some sadness in life recently, or maybe I've never noticed before. Maybe he's always done it, but
Oh, it has been picking up a bit lately. You make a good observation, Cameron.
I hope Boba Fett is okay. Although I honestly don't know anything about Boba Fett. Do you?
Yeah, I know some things about Boba Fett. Boba Fett's been around the channel for a long time. I could say that, but listen, Cheddar, yes, just stop making me say your little kid words, okay? Because as the Sigma Giga Chad, it is the case that Skibbity Bombaclats are always coming around here and telling me to show them my Giat. Well, you know what? You don't even need to see my Giat to see that I am the Wizard of Oz, and all must pay phantom tax in Ohio to my Giga Chattery, okay? Is that sufficient for you, Cheddar? Yes. Now, can we stop with the kid stuff? Germany, though. What about Germany? Germany did fine, I'm sure, today in their game against. What did they play against the Swiss, or did the Swiss win today? I don't know. Dressed half fancy. I was just a little chilly, and I went into the bedroom to find some kind of light coat to put on. I just grabbed this one. But I do look pretty fancy. I look like a woman about to break through that glass ceiling. That's why I'm wearing this.
Like
Oh,
in
it's a
the
drop.
80s. In the 80s, there were all those like shoulder pad power jackets and stuff for women. Do you remember that?
I do. My mom was a big fan of shoulder pads.
It was a big thing. Everyone, even my mom had shoulder pads.
Sam Mason said, "Did you recently have some fence work done?" No, I did not have any fence work done. I don't have any fences. Great racing bikes under 150 cc's in Germany. Well, I don't know what great racing bikes there are under 150 cc's in Germany. I don't think you can really have a great racing bike under 150 cc's. It's not going to be that fast.
Get yourself an Aprilia RS 125.
Say that again, Cameron. Get yourself a what?
Aprilia RS 125. There you go.
Aprilia RS 125. Get that. There you go. Problem solved. Yes, I play chess sometimes. I play people here. If somebody wants to play me chess, I could open up my chess thing. But people watching on their phones won't be able to click the link probably. Look at your watch and pretend you have places to go. Oh, I've got important business. I've got to meet with Debbie from the Merchants Commission. I have to meet with Debbie from the Merchants Commission to discuss protocols and procedures. Also,
Are you hungry at all? Do you have any ideas for dinner?
I don't have anything specific in mind, but so I could come up with dinner, or if you got something specific in mind you like to do, we go with that.
I could always make the Indian meal. I don't know if there's a good time when we could all do it, or how we should play it.
I suspect that if you cook it, she will come. I will check with her. So.
Yeah, let me know. I'm not gonna make that meal for you. We got to do that.
Hi, beautiful. Cameron's talking about making Indian food. Do you want to eat some? You guys? Okay, cool. So yeah, she wants food. If you want to make Indian food, that'd be great.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I'll hook it up.
And if you want me to help with anything, let me know.
No, I think everything's ready to go.
Okay. Leonard Arola says, also in Northern California, 2022 championship engine sits in my mother's living room. Huh. Well, I am not in Northern California. We are in Central California, in Mariposa, which is where Yosemite is. You might know that since you live in the area. You might call the Bay Area Northern California, but that's not really the Northern California, you know. That's just Central Coast. Whereas Mariposa here, we're right smack dab in the middle of the state. But people talk about the Bay Area as Northern California and Los Angeles is Southern California. Jacob, you make a really good point. I need to keep that in mind. I need to be diligent, disciplined, responsible, and pull sufficient bowls, or else I'm not going to ever really get high. I'm just going to be distracted, not smoking weed, etc. Well, Michael, you're not wrong. Thank you, Leonard Arola. Bay Area, Sacramento, that's not Northern California. Mount Shasta, that's Northern California. Michael says California is unaffordable. Burbank is 900,000 for a shack falling apart. Yeah, well, that's why we don't live in LA anymore. We sold the house I inherited in LA for. Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with the state of Jefferson. We here in Mariposa would like to be included in the state of Jefferson. We passed this guy's got a state of Jefferson sign up right down the road there. Shasta's still affordable. I mean, we need to get all the. Mariposa will be the very bottom of the state of Jefferson. Okay, it's gonna drop down like that Florida Panhandle kind of and back up. I've looked at how to gerrymander it. Humboldt, Trinity. Yeah, the good parts of California are both low density population, rural, and probably conservative. Or at least libertarian. So, my wonderful, wonderful county is both low density population, low total population, and libertarian, committed to no development, basically. And so much so that we don't even have a single stoplight in the whole county. Isn't that wonderful? I love not stopping at stoplights. An entire county with not one stoplight in it. Isn't that amazing? I'm just like so wowed by how much better it is to live in a place where people have been making decisions about what they want this place to be like for a long time and have stuck with it. You know, it's like it's hard to maintain something like that because it's so easy to allow a little bit of development here, a little bit of development there, etc. And before you know, you have to control traffic accordingly. We have the water. Why is not taxed downriver? Would love new roads. No stoplights up here. Nice. Good job, Leonard Arola. Good job. I'm 25, Kane Parks says, and I can absolutely say it's crazy how much I've seen things change in this county since I was a kid. I can only imagine how people older than me feel right now. The thing is, I'm 53, but I've only lived in this county for a couple of years. What I knew for sure was as soon as my parents finished dying, it was time to get the fuck out of Los Angeles. Country. It's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. Casey Jones asks, do you have a minute to talk about MAPA? That's Mothers Against Penile Atrophy. I mean, I think people of all different ages feel the kind of disruption of the now, that it's both a very volatile time for the world, for any individual people and families as well, because of all the massive inflationary crunch occurred post COVID, it it's hard to see exactly um, how the economy is going to really recover from that hit in any reasonable amount of time, because it's not like we're moving to uh, a world in which there are clear new job sectors opening up, right? So, uh, Dave Manning says Trump 2024. Another area where people might feel like the world's going to shit is, say, politics. Um, it's it seems like, I mean, we're a long way from anybody really even making an attempt to unify the country in a way that eh, rejects any and all group stuff. Like, I'm not on your side, Democrats. I'm not on your side, Republicans. I'm not on your side, left. I'm not on your side, right. I'm not on your side, libertarian. I'm on the side of correctness. Like, and I'm on the side of America and us being united in understanding that while we need to compete among ourselves for primacy of these political things, we need to be one team in our execution of identity. None of them too old. They call me double hater. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Leonard. I don't want to vote for either of those people. And I didn't vote for either of them last time either. I didn't vote at all because it's Dave Manning. Here's the deal. You're not, I don't believe you're necessarily wrong, but I don't want to dignify this butt fuckery by even voting for it, even voting in the election, because I don't want to vote for somebody because he's better than a weak, visionless Biden. It's like, I got you, Dave. I understand that. I get you that Trump is, at least Trump has a vision, right? You might not like it, etc., but at least, you think about Trump. What's his thing? He says, "Make America Great Again." What's Biden's thing? uh, mumble indecisively. Let's mumble indecisively. So it is the case that neither of them is actually qualified to be a good president in any sane universe. Neither of them would ever hold any political office, let alone president. But given the thing is, after the first Trump term, I thought, oh Jesus, I'd take anything over Trump. After the first Biden term, I'm like, oh Jesus, I'd rather have Trump. It was a night. It's been a nightmare for like 2 decades now. Trump does not have a good resume to be president because in his last term of office, instead of representing all the people of the country and treating all the people of the country as though their interests mattered, he just said anybody who's not mindlessly on my team is lying, evil, bad, and I don't care about them. So obviously, we need a United States president can be the president of the entire United States of America, right? And behave like it. Not everybody needs to be a politician to be. I don't want politicians, but what I'm saying is, we need an actual statesman and a patriot to take the job, who's competent and very aware of public policy matters and so forth. You never hear about all the BS they've done until years later. True, that's also true, Michael Green. But we can evaluate the Biden administration as 4 years of indecisive mumbling, whereas Trump was 4 years of mindless decisiveness. So Trump was very decisive about things, but not very good at explaining why, because he just used his shitty intuition to make decisions. Biden, on the other hand, is like, maybe if I just ignore everything or make a few vague statements, then I won't have to do anything. Reagan was fine. I think Clinton was the best president we've had, you know, in about since Eisenhower. But so if you were gonna say like presidents that I think were good in the last since like Teddy Roosevelt or whatever, I'd say Eisenhower and Clinton. And that's about it. Herbert Hoover wasn't exactly horrible, but internationalism isn't something to be proud of, particularly. Oh God, this is a commercial for Biden right now. It features almost no Biden. It's just an occasional picture of him looking not dementia and shitting on Trump. Reagan was a good president. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like Reagan, but there's some bullshit in under Reagan's watch too. Like Reagan liked the war on drugs. Nancy Reagan was, you could call her a drug war criminal. Nixon certainly a drug war criminal. But I agree. Reagan did a good job. It's worth noting, however, that for the second half of his second term, Nancy Reagan was running the country. He was deep in Alzheimer's. My pronouns, I refuse to use any pronouns. I expect to always be referred to by my proper name, or you can call me the host of Talking with Famous People. I will never be satisfied unless I'm president. And then I still won't be satisfied. I'll just be good at the job. Unlike all of these people. You know you're impactful when people try to assassinate you. It is the case that someone tried to assassinate Reagan. But I honestly don't think it was because he was so impactful. It had nothing to do with it. I do think possibly the CIA assassinated JFK, but the thing is, I am going to be running for president next election cycle, and I would like to win it, I guess, since I'm going to be running. But I am only going to serve one term. I'm not going to serve 2 terms. No way. I can fulfill my patriotic duty as a citizen statesman in just 1 term. 4 years. That's it. Presidency ages you a lot. And I'm getting old. I feel like I'm getting old fast, even without all that stress. So, I mean, Cheddar, yes. Are you really still complaining about Hillary Clinton? She never won anything. That woman never won anything. Remember that, right? She was always just the first lady, then the ex-first lady, and then a failed candidate for president that nobody liked. So maybe don't freak out so much about Hillary. a washed up uh, candidate who once almost won the presidency only because she was going up against the incredibly divisive Donald Trump, who pissed off so many undecided voters that he gave Hillary some slight chance of winning just because he was being so like the only people who matter are people who already love me. That of course he's going to turn off a lot of people, but if Hillary Clinton had been against any other decent candidate, she would have gotten blown out of the water by a bajillion votes. Because I can't think of a single person in the world who's got less charisma than Hillary Clinton. She's got the charisma of a tumor in your stomach. You know, she's got as much charisma as uh, parasites infusing, eating all of your nutrients from your body. You love Hillary. So I don't know which Hillary you're talking about. I know it's not Hillary Clinton. Is Hillary Duff? Do you love Hillary Duff? Is that who you love? It could not possibly be Hillary Clinton. Nobody, not only does nobody love Hillary Clinton, nobody even likes Hillary Clinton. Thanks, Cameron.
Sure.
Let me get the Rachel out here to eat this food with me. Oh, fancy Indian food. I feel like I'm on an exotic trip to the Indian subcontinent.
Exotic trip to Trader Joe's.
What year was I born? I was born in 1971. YM Dr. JV says, "Damn, I'm in the wrong chat. You edged to Hillary." Okay, look, if you're a lesbian bottom, I get it, right? Hillary's, I'm sure, a very stern, a very stern lady for you. But if you are not a lesbian bottom, then I do not understand why you are attracted to Hillary Clinton at all, or even think she's a good person. She lacks enough intuition to be called evil, really, but she accordingly can't really be called good either. She just kind of favors bureaucracy for its own sake. It's kind of like nightmarishly tunnel visioned technocrat. Looking ribbing? Me and her trib. Looking ribbing. I don't know what ribbing is. Can you give me another roll of Hillary Clinton? What are chomos? I don't know what chomos are. An attorney defending people is a perfectly good thing to happen, regardless of what those people are guilty of, right? Everybody deserves a robust legal defense, no matter how horrible the crime they're accused of, because we presume them innocent until they're found guilty. Well, I will say this, even people accused of that crime, Jacob 540, deserve a robust defense because, after all, they might not be guilty of it. I mean, do we have good reason to trust that the police and prosecutors do an excellent job of enforcing the law correctly and not railroading people and shit? No, we've got plenty of reason to think the opposite.
I found something really interesting and disturbing about our fellow citizens.
Yeah.
When I was on a couple of juries,
Hmm.
everyone assumes that any person in jail, your average citizen, your peers, they assume any person in jail should be treated really terribly and that they're all guilty because they are behind bars. This is what just about everybody expressed to me on juries.
All right, it's horrible.
Yeah, and I told him, look, this could be you, this could be your sister or mother tonight. You have a glass of wine with dinner, and a cop wants to give you a breathalyzer within 15 minutes of your drink. You have a DUI. Anyone could have it, and anyone could be behind bars any night who drinks wine with dinner.
True.
You know, so no one should be like humiliated and have all, you know,
Right.
you shouldn't be humiliated in prison. It's bad enough just being there.
And the other thing is, so many of the people in prison haven't even committed an actual crime, guilty of some kind of procedural shit or drug offense or whatever.
You don't pay tickets. You're not organized. Your car gets a ticket. You don't
Right.
pay it.
You don't.
And then all of a sudden,
Failure to appear, and then you can't afford them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Nobody's still talking about Hillary Clinton. My point was that nobody should care about Hillary Clinton at all, or say like, oh, Hillary Clinton's so bad, because she's just an irrelevant person who never won anything. She was just the wife of Bill Clinton, who was a great president. No, I'm not going to mod you. It's not a crime against humanity, okay, Jacob 540? For God's sake, don't be so overwrought in your ridiculousness. Laughing is not a crime in any context. It may offend you in some contexts, but in no world is it a crime. Okay, Jacob 540, regardless, like I said before, why are you caring about Hillary Clinton? She's just some lady who never won anything, who ran for office, and she had a job as a lawyer. You know, it's like, if she was a defense attorney, she's going to defend a variety of people.
She was not a senator or something at some point.
Oh yeah, she was a senator, huh?
But, you know.
My bad. She actually did win office. She was a senator out of New York, of all places. That makes sense that New York are going to be dumb about electing people. Good catch, Cameron. I'd forgotten about that.
And I try to avoid all news somehow. I'm pretty good about it. You know, I really don't look up news or pay much attention. So who was it? Trump versus Clinton? Is that race when Trump won?
Yeah, he beat Hillary.
Yeah.
That wasn't an elected office, Jacob. God. That's cabinet position. It's not an elected office.
Thank you, Cam.
No problem.
You can talk about that if you want, but I'm not that interesting. I'm not interested in talking about somebody who's completely irrelevant to all political discussions at this point. Hillary Clinton. It's not like she's running ever again. I think she's come to understand that nobody likes her enough to elect her.
Is she married to Bill Clinton still?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
The point is, if you are somebody who, when they talk about politics, keep talking about how evil this person or that person is, shut the fuck up. Care about the country a little bit. Don't engage in your boogeymanning and we just got to figure out who to blame and hate. That'll solve the problem. No, fucktard, you're being the problem. Yeah, it's your constitutional right to say what you want, Jacob. And guess what? I can tell you, don't exercise that right if you're going to say stupid ass shit that's just inflammatory and divisive. And another example of partisan mistrust and ill will run amok. I mean, what have I said about Benghazi at all? I didn't say anything at all about it. I just pointed out that Secretary of State is a cabinet position. It's not an elected position, right? How is that being wrong or not knowledgeable about Hillary Clinton. I had forgotten that Hillary Clinton was a senator. So I was corrected by Cameron, who pointed out actually she did win something. And then I didn't say anything about Benghazi at all. You brought it up. I didn't say anything about it. And then I just pointed out the Secretary of State is not a fucking elected office. So maybe get your head out of your ass before you say stupid ass shit, dumb shit. No, I'm not minding you. I will time you out though. Because obviously you're willfully being provocatively stupid. You can't actually be that dumb. So since you're just being trolly, you get timed out. Okay. Hillary Clinton. She is the mother of Chelsea Clinton. Number 2, Hillary Clinton. So this firing is tiny ass out. Number 3, fuck off. Number 4, fuck off. And number 5, go fuck yourself.
She liked those jackets.
I'm not angry as fuck. I'm just like, why is somebody being an agitator, a provocative agitator about Hillary Clinton in 2024? Don't we have anything more contemporary to discuss? Max Headland. How is the weather over here? The weather over here is just fine. I think this is for both of us, right?
Oh,
Or did we each get our own bowl, or is it the
Each-
same
no,
thing,
yeah,
or are
yeah,
they
we
different
all-
things? in the
They're
bowl?
all each bowl is the same. We all have.
Oh, it's all the
Okay.
same. Okay, all right, cool. I thought they were different things.
I don't know.
There's 3 different things over rice plus the stuffed grape leaves in each bowl.
So Cameron and I have been friends for about 10 years or so, and prior to that, I knew him, but he was younger than me, but he went to the same high school I went to. I was friends with his brother.
2 years meant a lot back when you're
Yeah.
15 or 14.
Yeah, exactly. And good family friend. Knew both my parents, helped out with my mom, stuff like that. So Ninja says you got that vibe like you should be in an old Western movie. You'd play a damn good villain. Oh yeah? You're not gonna get out of here alive. I'm gonna cut you down on your way out of town.
That's good.
Have I heard of the Van Geet opening in chess? No, Cheddar, yes, but I wish Sean Al were here because he's quite the chess aficionado. He is like ranked quite. He has a very good ranking.
Ola Pooty Tat.
I was not in Home Alone.
Nice. Do you like that movie? You guys like that, don't you? A little bit?
I liked Home Alone.
Well, I haven't seen it in a long time.
As a kid, I used to watch it over and over again.
For it being a kid's movie, I only watched it in my adulthood, but really did like it. I mean,
That's
I
good.
have to turn off my adult movie brain, but I think it's a great movie.
It is. It's good. It's a classic for a reason, classic Christmas movie.
It's comforting to see the same movie every year from a certain season.
Mm-hmm.
Think about snow.
Yeah.
Ninja, I am not ranked at all. I am not that good of a chess player. No actually good chess player would ever lose to me. I'm just a casual player who sometimes plays games against random people on the internet. There were 31 cows and 29 chickens. How many didn't? I mean, there's no way to determine the answer to that question because you're not told any information about what was done, only what was. The hairline's giving Indianapolis Colts vibes. Funny how many people notice hair.
When you're younger, you're afraid.
What?
When you're a kid, you're afraid of losing your hair. When you're older, it's like, that already happened. Who cares?
I don't think I was ever afraid of it even. I just never thought about it.
You don't keep track of that.
I think it's a strange question to ask, Seth. I mean, the obvious answer is more drivers that died in accidents, but I'm guessing accordingly that the other answer must be correct. Got our hairball there. It's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
The food is delicious, but it's also quite spicy. Well, it just goes to show you, when you watch those like spooky videos on YouTube that's right, we went to this haunted, this abandoned place that might be haunted, and they hear some noise. The scariest possibility always is that it's a person. It's a living person.
Mm-hmm.
People are scarier than other risks. People are the scariest risk of all. Jacob says I'm used to that white people seasoning. Well, it is true that I have kind of tender gringo taste buds.
I'll join you on that though, because I'm.
My taste buds don't seem to be transracial.
Oh.
Is this a wet forehead spicy level?
Yeah. For sure it is.
I feel a little here and a little like on my nose.
Oh, do you
maybe.
get sinuses?
Like I might be flushing a little bit.
I feel it all in my mouth, my lips, and tongue.
Yeah, it's spicy.
I would pretty much say no, mild anywhere that they would ask me, but like Trader Joe's, what are you gonna do? There's no choice.
Favorite U.S. state? I mean, I've been to a lot of states, but I've not lived in any state but California. It's hard to say how much you like a place that you're just visiting briefly.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
Vacation mentality is for real. Imagine going to Hawaii and then like wanting to move there.
That I could understand, but then you think I hear such negative things about the lifestyle, like living there, like how expensive it is.
And then
And the
just displacing native people and then being pissed off at you for it.
You're not displacing them.
Yeah. Like
Well, some people will argue that. I'm not saying it's true. So.
No, well, we went to a luau. It was like supposed to be outside, but it was inside. And one of the ladies who was in charge of she was like the MC pretty much, kind of like was like, this was our land before you guys came. Like,
Were you the one, Jacob, who recommended I check out that track? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. Incredible track. Unbelievable. Those, I mean, I don't like all three of the tracks in terms of tracks to listen to because they're not all good to listen to. Like they're not all songs that have musical value beyond their lyrical
Mm,
composition and what it's saying about Drake, right?
yeah.
But oh my god, I I was stunned to hear that shit. You know, like certified lover boy, certified pedophile. It's like, oh my god, what in the world has just happened to Drake? He
Yeah.
just got hit by a fucking asteroid. You cannot destroy anybody any more 100% than Kendrick Lamar destroyed Drake. And, you know, from the sound of it, Drake deserves a fair amount of condemnation. Um,
Yeah, like I feel like there's I don't know if he was involved with Epstein at all. There's definitely underground stuff going on.
yeah. Wow. It's crazy. It's like, I used to think, oh God, here's somebody coming around with these weird conspiracy theories about Hollywood again. But increasingly, I'm starting to think they're not even weird conspiracies. It's actually what it's like in Hollywood.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how many
Horrible.
people like? It's like it really is true. Like, never meet your idol because you'll just be disappointed. Like who would think? Honestly, who would think? I would never. I think of well, Tom Hanks is portrayed as like, or he was at least at one point in his career, like, the good guy who was
Jack
a little
Tripper.
what?
He was a Jack Tripper.
I
He's
tell you,
what?
He was like from Three's Company, Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
He's like an all-American guy
Yeah, all American guy,
who
exactly.
jogs wearing short shorts.
Right.
he was in Bosom Buddies.
He was in Bosom Buddies. He was in Big. He was in Sleepless in Seattle. He was like the all American guy.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, celebrities, a good celebrity, Martin Short.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I have every reason to think, based on shit that's like, he sometimes said some things in the past that like clips will resurface that make sense now that he was, but shit he was saying to Jimmy Fallon and stuff is funny. I never heard anybody suggest he ever like cheated on his wife or anything. She's dead now, so maybe he's getting on Meryl Streep. I don't know, but and I've never heard him do anything but condemn Hollywood shittiness. You know,
that is true.
Jim Carrey's a horrible person, so fuck him.
Yes.
John Ritter died on 9/11 of 04 at 54.
Did Winston's mom change their name? To name drop?
Nope, that's a different person. Martin Short is hilarious. I really like his work on Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, me too.
And I think he makes Steve Martin cooler than Steve Martin otherwise would be. I think he makes Steve Martin probably less of a dick.
Yeah.
I didn't like George Carlin, but I do believe that he was a good guy in Hollywood. He wasn't evil. ENTPs typically, I don't think, are going to get that evil with the SE stuff.
I feel like selfish FE too, like you want to have a good reputation because it's personal to you.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't wrong about necessarily a lot of things. He wasn't right about everything, but my problem with him was he's not funny enough. And that's a deal breaker for me.
He's a bit of a Gallagher.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He had a bit of Gallagher in him. It's like, okay, George Carlin. I would say he strayed down Dennis Miller Lane a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Dennis Miller, yeah.
Yeah, that was just one blink. Oh, that's a wink. I winked twice, okay? Don't be confused. I didn't blink twice, but I winked twice. I mean, I also understand, I'm also sort of sympathetic towards George Carlin. Nobody can really sustain a very long career as a stand up comedian because if you become successful enough at it, then you have to make up too many new jokes, or else people have all heard your jokes before or something.
Yeah, it's true.
I think managers force them into movies and stuff because how much money could you make doing stand up compared to a movie, right?
Stand up it's probably grueling too. I mean, you're traveling like a musician all over the place, but it's more intimate than it is for some concerts. You have to be on, like you have to.
Well, William, I know I'm familiar with his Thomas the Tank Engine work, and I'm familiar with his work in Bill and Ted's various adventures,
I
and
forgot about that.
and his other appearances in assorted movies. I just have to say, consistently, I was unimpressed with his actual work. You know, except for Thomas the Tank Engine was fine, but he still wasn't as good as Ringo.
Ringo was the best.
Yeah, Ringo was the real voice of Thomas the Tank Engine. Cat Williams is not the goat. No, I I like his kind of zazzy freshness, but he's actually not funny though, is the problem.
He's a good like lead-in guy, right?
He'd be a good MC for a night of
that's what I
comedy.
mean.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
But he's not actually funny. And that, of course, is a deal breaker when you're talking about comedians. The other person who's not funny, Chris Rock, is not funny. I'm sorry, Chris Rock, you're just not funny.
True. It's kind of annoying.
Richard Pryor may have been funny, but I'm not sure his humor's aged very well. Doug Stanhope, I'm not sure who that person is exactly.
Eddie Murphy was funny in his 80s stuff.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, his work has aged okay. Like Rachel and I watched Coming to America not that long ago. That was pretty funny.
It was, and all his characters on SNL, like Gumby and Buckley, Mr.
Okay, I will admit, Jacob 540, at the moment, we're dovetailing black comedians. I will concede that,
true.
okay? But it's not like I don't like black comedians. Rachel and I watched a thing by a black comedian the other day that was this guy says, explains Kendrick Lamar and Drake to white people.
Oh, that was so funny.
It was great. I enjoyed it a lot.
I enjoyed it a lot too.
The point is, I don't enjoy the following people as comedians. I don't like Cat Williams. I don't like Chris Rock, and I don't like that short little guy.
Oh, you don't like him?
What's his name?
Oh, the one who's like like I know
He's on a lot of commercials. He's like on the
What
DraftKings
was
commercial.
his name?
Kevin Hart. Yeah, I don't like him either.
I don't like him
But as far as comedians, I do like. Well, I like Rachel Feinstein.
She's funny.
She's pretty funny, and I like. This is gonna seem like there's a trend here, but I like Esther Pavlisky or whatever. She made a stand-up special called "Hot for My Name," and she's funny. I like that guy Mulaney.
Oh, John
Mulaney.
Yeah.
But not he had a peak funniness stretch. Now he's not. He's off past that stretch.
It's weird, like I don't know. I think honestly, I feel like his life has gotten less miserable, and therefore, like he has less material.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because he was he used his wife a lot or his ex-wife a lot in his because they were like total opposites. So he would like and then I used to think that Louis C.K. Louis C.K. is funny. He just is gross. It's just a shame.
Oh, Andrew Dice Clay was not funny. Bill Burr is not funny. Oh my
No,
God. Bill Burr is horrible. I cannot. I have no concept of how people like Bill Burr. He's just nasty and like makes kind of unpleasant but purportedly funny comments about women. I don't know. Bo Burnham is definitely not a genius. However, I do like that one thing: a white woman's Instagram.
It's so funny. It's so mean.
However, Bo Burnham in general is not funny. He's one of those people like that British guy with the stupid politics, who was going out with Katy Perry.
Oh, the one who's in ENFP.
Yeah. Brand.
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Russell Brand. Russell Brand is terrible. Mitch Hedberg was very funny. Most importantly, Mitch Hedberg wrote good jokes, right? And that's what you're looking to see for somebody to deserve respect. They need to write good jokes. That's the hardest thing to do. And that's the only thing that matters. If your humor involves you like making a funny voice or something, that humor is not going to age well. You need only good jokes matter.
Ninja, yes, I like Eddie Murphy from the 80s.
No, Russell Brand is not cool.
Yeah,
he's
he's
an idiotic commie.
He's not funny.
He's not funny and he's not cool either. He's just thinks he understands things that he can't. He trusts his intuition at the expense of anything that we can actually use to validate stuff. Tom Segura. I don't know who Tom Segura is. Never heard of him. Joey Diaz is a golden nugget. I've never heard of Joey Diaz. Never heard of him. When in terms of Saturday Night Live stuff that I like to watch, people I think are funny on Saturday Night Live, I always thought when she was on it, Kristen Wiig
Kristen Wiig's great.
Was funny.
She was so funny on it. So was what's his name? Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader was funny on it. I like that guy who plays the lady who keeps dancing in the street.
Fred Armisen, he's
Fred
funny.
Armisen, yeah.
He's funny too. He's wacky.
No, Chris Rock is not funny. Here I am. That's what I keep saying. He's,
There's a Portlandia channel, right?
There is?
Yeah, when you go to regular TV, at least maybe one of the channels will play Portlandia for like 24 hours.
Probably IFC. Like I think that's the channel that it was on when it was like.
Maybe they do marathons, but if you ever go to live TV, which I do if my cable thing is broken or whatever, yeah, I'll notice it's always on. You just go ahead in the guide and it's like forever.
We're talking about good and bad comedians right now. That's what we're talking about, Ellen.
And what's her name? Fred and
I think it's like Rachel something. Rachel White. They're good. Oh my god, that the cacao stick. Like I remember that one being one of the first. That one, and they're watching. I think Battlestar Galactica, and they get like super into it, and they show how like people get obsessive and about binging shows.
Okay.
And they start off like, all right, just another show, and then it goes into like 2 shows, and they're like, you want to continue? And then they're like, yeah, let's continue. So they like stay up all night, and then they call out of work and To keep it becomes like almost a drug.
I don't know anything about Jimmy Carr. I don't know who that is. I did want to say the following people are funny, just so that I can show you the other trend. I like Key and Peele both a
Oh,
lot.
they're great.
I used to think Dave Chappelle was hilarious. I haven't seen much of anything, him do much of anything in a long time. Apparently, he recently did some shit that was just kind of like mean.
Do you want me to take your bowls?
Yeah,
I'll
thanks.
take your
Oh,
bowl.
thank you.
Sure.
So the thing that everybody has in common, who I like as a comedian, is their jokes are they're very sparklingly well written humor, right? It's sparklingly well written. That's what has to be good. I don't think that's the case at all. Pepe should Chataway. The thing is, after my long list of comedians I didn't like, which included a lot of black comedians, I thought it occurred to me the following three black comedians that I do like, which are Dave Chappelle, Key and Peele. Stephen Wright is the OG beast. He's one of the best joke writers of all time. But so is Mitch Hedberg, a joke writer, one of the great joke writers of all time. He didn't have a long career, but he wrote some classic genius jokes. Really clever stuff. Well, I do think Dave Chappelle has he may have devolved into that a bit, but he didn't start out as that. Not change the subject, but anyone looking forward to the comedy show Thursday night, the Biden Trump debate? I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, debate would be in quotes.
Lenny Bruce, I don't know about. Yeah, he was funny back in the day, but he's not. He hasn't grown as an artist into something else. Okay. Okay, well, maybe Chris Rock's new comedy special is good, but I historically haven't liked Chris Rock. I don't think he's very funny. I mean, I think the Dave Chappelle show was just during the short period of time when it was on and good, it was great. I have some from the name Doug Stanhope sounds familiar. I think I've probably heard some of his stuff before. I don't think I do like it, but I could be wrong. I could be thinking about the wrong guy. Well, maybe see, I could believe Chris Rock getting better. No, not necessarily. I mean, the I named multiple stand-up comedians that I like a lot too, or I named three of them. Rachel Feinstein, Esther Fabitsky, and John Mulaney. I like Nick Kroll's. I like some of his stuff. Some of it's not funny, and some of it is. Some of his Kroll show stuff has aged badly, and some of it's aged well.
Yeah.
I like Too Much Tuna.
I
like how he goes. You're on a prawn show.
I like Jenny Slate too, the other girl who works in the office with. She's
yeah, I like her too.
Yeah,
she's funny.
She's funny.
Of what, Seth? Saying Kevin Hart isn't funny is the funniest joke of all time. Kevin Hart's not funny. I'm not joking. I expect people to be smart. You know, you can't make me laugh with dumbass clownings. It's got to be genuinely surprising, insightful, or it has to be genuinely of value. Shit that isn't gonna age well, it won't make me laugh at the time when it's making other people laugh because I understand what's actually funny. So like Old Greg, I don't know who Old Greg is. I would say that Mr. Show is another example of a great funny show that most of the shit's aged quite well. Where do I stand on Dangerfield? Not impressed. Don't like him. Don't like that kind of it's kind of vaudeville, vaudeville comedy kind of. I don't know. It's a little weird to me.
You expect a cue card saying applause in the middle of Dangerfield, or
Yeah.
wait for him to chuckle and know that it's supposed to be funny then.
Kevin Hart's been hanging out with streamers lately? Really? Maybe you should hang out with me and convince me that he's funny. Jerry Seinfeld, not funny. Jerry Seinfeld said the comedian doesn't get to decide what's funny, only the audience. Comedy's brutal in that way. You can't explain someone into laughing. I agree with Jerry Seinfeld, but I agree with his explanation there. Not that he is funny. No, I do. I hate Dennis Miller, Ninja. Absolutely not. I mean, that's what I said I don't like about somebody else is that he walked a little bit down Dennis Miller lane. Dennis Miller is just a cringe fest, eye roll catastrophe. Being smart does not mean being wordy. It means being clever, insightful, intuitive, not complicated, wordy, and political and verbose. And it's just like, Dennis Miller, go fuck yourself and your boring horribleness. Yeah, in fact, much of what Hedberg did has sort of like become like comedy gospel. Like his jokes are well known by lots of people. You'll hear like every time I have rice, I think of his joke about rice. Like rice is great when you want to eat 2,000 of something. It's a great joke, right? I used to do drugs. I still do, but I used to as well. I don't know about Letterman's old stand-up. Yes, I did despise Robin Williams and still think he was never funny. And like the best work he ever did was in movies where he had a great editor go through, long chunks of him ad-libbing to find anything that was worth keeping and then piece together something that actually was kind of funny. Like if he was voicing the genie in Aladdin. But anyway. I bet you're a Carrot Top guy? No, I'm definitely not a Carrot Top guy. I don't know anybody who thinks Carrot Top's funny. I don't think anybody really ever did think Carrot Top was funny. No, I'm not yapping. I am rewarding your ears with the dulcet tones of truth. You're welcome, Jason L. I'm not even sure you earned this, but you're getting it anyway for free. You're welcome. In fact, I'm sure you didn't earn this, but you might be deserving of it, but I'm not sure. No, I'm not a certified yapper boy. I'm a certified piper girl. Who? TF, is this new character unlocked? This new character unlocked? I don't know what you're talking about. One more, then off for a whiz. Sounds good. Let's pull one more bong rip and then we'll be off for a whiz. Oh, come on with a jacket like that. I just put this jacket on because I was a little bit chilly inside. And oh, is that what that means? It's a way of saying that I'm an NPC. Okay, fine. Jason, believe me, if there is either of us who is more likely to be the NPC, it would definitely be you, as it took you more than a week to get unstuck from your blinker macro. Let's talk to the new guy, Buster. What do you want to say to him? Go ahead, talk to him. Ask him any questions. This is Cameron. He doesn't have to answer them, of course, but if you have any questions, ask questions to Cameron. He's an ISTJ. He's good with like fixing stuff, like making stuff. Oh, let's go look at his things he made outside. I'm not making you lasagna, Dylan.
Doing art, that's one of the things we do. Sometimes art is, physical, sometimes it's cooking art.
Sometimes it's drawing art, sometimes it's carving art. Fear is not a factor for you. Ask him why Kendrick never mentions Lil Wayne. I don't think he knows who Kendrick and Lil Wayne are well enough to know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that? Why does Kendrick never mention Lil Wayne?
I have no clue. No idea. Or interest.
Element Loaf asks, Cameron, how many hookers do you have buried in the garden?
Huh. Well, your garden or mine?
I guess your own, since...
Not too many right now, but I don't really remember. I just, do it when I'm wasted, I guess.
Is Lil Wayne Big Wayne's little brother? Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We've got everything you want. Maybe you didn't know your name. You are a berry, meow, meow. All right, so look, we are trying to make wood bongs today, but Cameron made these like decorative wood bongs because he used this old kind of wood.
Oh, we get to play them as they're actually didgeridoos.
You could do that, yeah. The holes go all the way through, so or not all the way through. It's got like the bottom part wood where it would hold
this
water.
Goes through to this.
Yeah, but you
This goes through to that.
you could play it as a drum because it's hollow inside. But it's not particularly strong wood, so it wouldn't work well as a drum for very long. Looking pretty cool, huh?
They're decorative or really, for plants, maybe. But I'd probably have to put a base on both of them.
They kind of look like. It kind of looks like some kind of tribal penis sheath.
A penis gourd, you're saying?
You put your junk right in there, and then you just pee out this hole.
Oh yeah, protect it during battle. No one could chop it off with their choppers.
Oh. So obviously Cameron did a pretty great job with those things, and they look pretty rad. But the true end of the wooden bong story has not yet even begun, because when the wooden bong story comes to an end, it will be when I've successfully carved this last piece of wood or drilled this last piece of wood so that it actually works. That'll be amazing, huh?
Do you want to do that on the live stream, or is that for another time?
It's a homemade pocket puss. Oh, I could smoke out of that. You're not trying hard enough. Fair enough, Casey Jones. Fair enough. Chronic cough respiratory.
Respiratory.
You got some respiratory infection.
I'm from the south and have respiratory infection.
Chronic cough / respiratory infection are the health consequences of Mary Jane in excess, while the chance of psychosis is the worst mental side effect. I mean, it's not.
Well, what about if you didn't smoke it?
I mean, the thing is, you gotta think of chance of psychosis as something that means something. Like, it's true that if you are predisposed to a certain kind of mental illness, you might experience some kind of fugue state after smoking weed. Like, I had a panic attack one time after I smoked weed, not that long after my dad killed himself. But even that's just a panic attack. So for somebody like me or Cameron, Rachel, just as much as me or Cameron, marijuana has 0% chance of correlating with any kind of mental illness stuff in any given instance. Oh my God, it's Jeebus timed out in real life. As a young teen, I smoked out of cans and plastic bottles. No wonder my generation has microplastics. All right, Jason out. That's it. That's it, mister. Into the corner you go. You made me do it, little mister, by being by being a poorly behaved Povertons.
Didn't marijuana just become like descheduled federally?
Yeah, but you know, a lot of people like to fixate on possible health risks of things and stuff like that.
They still want to be McJudgers.
I trained my dog Lacey for a variety of things that, like sitting in the back of my bicycle and stuff, but I've never trained any other dogs really. I'm not good at training dogs or anything. Everywhere I go, I think, can I beat off here? Thank you for not coming to my house. If you do come to my house, the answer is no. I prefer you not. Certainly, if you do, I don't want to know about it. With a penis sheath, you can beat off anywhere. It used to be that I could only whack off in the privacy of my home, but thanks to Urban Outfitters' new tribal penis sheath, nobody can tell what's going on inside of my sheath.
That's not a butt plug with external visual cue?
It does double as a butt plug, both regular and gaping.
It's 2 in 1, huh?
Yeah. If you're in the mood for just a regular butt plug, you're fine. If you're in the mood for something a little more robust, some consumers say, I really think there should be a middle size. Only available at Dick's Sporting Goods. Excellent, Sean. Well done, sir. And we're still chucking up tummy loads. Yes, sometimes. I'm not sure how to answer that question. I'm talking to you, Jeebus, for fuck's sake. Where's the homecoming party? Here you go. Have some soy sauce. You can't call it a party without soy sauce.
Everyone's doing shots of soy sauce this year.
Yeah, we did decide to call blue balls cummy eggs. I'm having a cummy egg. Rachel is in the master bedroom, chilling, listening to her phone. She says from the other room, I apologize for being rude. I don't think anybody thinks you're being rude, Rachel. Do you think Rachel's being rude? How could she be rude? She's not saying anything. Like, she's just chilling. She's tired because she took a little bit of an Adderall yesterday. So.
Yeah, I had some Adderall yesterday.
So that means, that she's a little tired today. You think we both love dogs. I loved my dog when I had a dog, but I don't have any dog right now. We have 2 cats.
We have a cat and he's kind of like a dog.
Oh, she's right here, Jeebus. Jeez. And then Victor, in your second guess that I like Steely Dan. I do like Steely Dan, but that's not consistent with the kind of stuff I like. So Steely Dan I like because they're great, even though they're everything else they are.
Well, right. If you looked at them on paper and like look what kind of music they play, you might be like, oh, I don't know about that.
Right. If you were to read any description of
Yeah.
Steely Dan to me and I hadn't heard them before and say, do you want to listen to something described as this? I would say, no, definitely not.
Yeah, I know. But they're excellent.
But they're excellent anyway. I mean, sure, they got plenty of filler stuff, but they also got plenty of genius tracks. And really, it's mostly Donald Fagen. His new Steely Dan album is just as good as the old ones. No, I don't like Bad Company. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of older music like that. Yes, my dad passed away. He died in August of 2022. And no, Rachel does not snort Adderall. She sometimes takes one of mine, to party. But I take obviously the vast majority of my prescription myself. So
Yeah, I apologize, Cameron.
You don't owe anybody any certain timing.
I feel bad though. Like it happens though with me. I take an Adderall. I only took half an Adderall, and like I slept for a little while last night, but it definitely kept me up. It keeps me up.
I literally have a note where I save things that I consider to be my rules. One of my rules is you will not feel guilty for sleeping. It's
That's
literally
such
a
good
written rule. So
that's a great
I
rule.
give it to you.
Thank you. I'm gonna put
Because
that
I'm
on
not
my list of
I
rules
would guilt
too.
anybody.
That's good. That's good that you give yourself that permission. Because like sometimes I don't. Like I feel like I could be doing something else.
You sleep because your body needed to sleep right then.
Yeah.
Well, Jeebus, his health was declining, but what caused him to die was the bullet that he put in his head.
Oh.
So, and as far as I'll address your question shortly enough, temporal teleporter. I'll address it to Cameron. I can tell you at the moment he's wearing what are called slides. I guess I'll address it right now.
These go with socks and sandals really well.
They do.
You don't have to do that toe crunch.
Nobody wants the toes crunch. Nobody likes it at all.
Hey, kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's
Love
fine,
it.
Jeebus. It's fine. It happened a long time ago.
Oh my God, Jeebus! Oh my God, how long?
I
Has
know.
it been?
Hey, I'm sure Jeebus appreciates that. That's the homecoming he wanted. Oh my God, Jeebus! Oh my God. So, Ninja, now I want to address what you said. Wait till you ever try to quit taking them. It's almost impossible to stop taking them, trust me. Well, I mean, I stop taking them every month, right? I don't, it doesn't take me the whole month to go through my prescription. So then I have a week and a half, sometimes as much as 2 weeks off before I get my pills again. Jeebus, it wasn't so much that he was very sad, depressed, or whatever you want to say, I'm sure. But it was, what I realized after he did it was that he'd been telling me for years this was how it was going to go down. That he was not going to go out slowly in the hospital. That he was going to pick the time and circumstances of his concluding his life. My mother had just been put into hospice. Her Alzheimer's had been declared, like, at this point, anything goes wrong, we're not going to try to save her. She's not going to go back to the hospital to get treatment for anything. She's going to stay in the nursing home and get hospice care. So I've come to believe my dad did the right thing at the right time for him, for a variety of reasons. But it was very hard on him to lose my mother, obviously. And oh yeah, we were home. We were very close to where he did it. But I understand why he did it, appreciate that he made the right choice for him. at the time. He had lost his hearing and most of his sight. He had gotten COVID really bad. He'd fallen, broken some ribs, was losing his mobility, etc.
And what hospice means is that somebody has approximately 1 month predicted to survive, possibly.
They say that you get put on it in the last 120 days, which would be 4 months.
Okay, 4 months. I guess I'm wrong about the timing, but he had already witnessed such a sad turn of events with his wife, and for them to declare, look, now it really is the final end, I can understand how he didn't want to see that.
Right, and he was kind of slow to kind of grasp the reality of it all. So, okay, so let me get back to Victor's questions. What about someone knocking at the door? I don't know what that is. What about Steve Miller? I think Steve Miller is a great songwriter. He's got a number of great songs. But again, I don't really listen to a lot of old-fashioned music that much anymore. Classic rock or whatever. Was he Christian? No, he's an atheist. Who's the nerd on the couch? That's Cameron. He's not a nerd. I'm more of a nerd than Cameron.
Anyone who thinks nerd is like an insult is a dumbass.
Anyone in hospice has the right to pull the plug how and when they want. Well, I mean, my mom was. No, she just melts it in her mouth. That's all. Like, same as I do. No reason ever to snort Adderall. Just melt it in your mouth. Or chew it up and melt it in your mouth. What's my favorite band or something? I don't know exactly if I have such a thing. I would say that stuff that I'm like the last band I saw in concert was Johnny, which isn't exactly a band. He's a guy, but he has a band play with him live, and so I really like his music. He's somebody that I would say I'm a big fan of. In terms of things like rappers, I guess you could say. I like Baby No Money. I like Prof. Like some of the stuff that they put out, I like a lot. But it's kind of been that a bit lately. But mostly what I find are excellent tracks, specific excellent tracks of whatever genre. Hopefully something pretty current coming out now, because I like to stay as current as possible. And it gets to make, if it's truly excellent / genius, timeless, wonderful, it earns the right to be on my, Uruguay, you scored again. It earns the right to be on my Chappy Tracks playlist, which is the greatest honor any track can receive in all of history. If you make Chappy Tracks, that means you are really a good song / track. It's an eclectic bunch of stuff, but that's because you never know where something genius is going to come from. Ninja says, I'm going to have to bail here in a minute unless the content quality picks back up a bit, brother. But just go ahead and go. It's unlikely to get any better than this at the moment, anyway. No, we're not part of a throuple. Cameron's just visiting. He's visiting from LA. He has a girlfriend in LA. Rachel and I aren't down with that shit at all. So, no, we're just friends. He's just visiting. And Rachel is not my girlfriend. She's my wife. Rachel could be an Adderall boofer, but prefers, I think, to melt it in her mouth. Am I still making weird music? I'd like to think that my music is less weird than it used to be. I don't know if it's if it qualifies as not weird at all, but it may still be weird. But I try to be less weird. I try to be as immediately and conventionally likable as I can. So, for example, when I'm playing a song on the guitar for the live stream, I typically play fairly more often than one would anticipate the songs that people respond to best, because I figure if there are new people here listening to stuff that they've not heard me play before, then they can perhaps they can they can be exposed to something they're most likely to like rather than something they're less likely to like. I was, in fact, a debate coach, competition flow debate coach for most of my career. I was the director of a competition flow debate private school with just a debate, and um, I had my own school for a while too. I coached policy, PF, Lincoln Douglas. Sure, I coached speech events too, but I was a better debate coach than speech coach. And eventually, when I got far enough along in my career, I always delegated the speech stuff to other people. I will play a normal song for you. I'll play a normal song that people typically react well to, called Gregory in Disguise. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Are you ready? Here we go. He's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, and every time he tries, they only run night. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them, until the bridge brings a new approach. Sneakily he'll try to encroach upon the guilty, then perhaps he'll get the chance to yell at them. Is Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise, hands in his pockets. Now he's walking down the drive. Averts his eyes. He doesn't want you guys to realize that he's Gregory in disguise. He hates the lies, wants to confront the men, always telling them, but every time he tries, they only run and hide. Again he is denied the chance to yell at them, because he's Gregory in disguise. Jason he wants to feel like he knows where the boundaries are. He needs somebody to time him out and stuff, because I don't know, he's probably like 12 years old.
Some people have to express themselves through their wiggly energy, and it's not always the most pleasant thing for everyone else.
Yeah, so Jason, I'm going to ask you to step outside of the room and wait in the hallway for a little while until I come out and talk to you about your behavior. Yes, that is my song. Thank you for asking that question. I like that question. And I appreciate you listening to it. Thank you very much. Is that number 3? I guess, goal number 3. I do plan to, yes, in the upcoming election cycle. Thanks, Victor. How kind of you to say. Thanks, Casey Jones. People tend to react well to that song. There's a couple of other songs I have that people go, oh, that was a good. They also get a lot of positive response, but I would say that one gets the most positive response. If you want another song, I'll play another song, sure. If Cameron doesn't mind.
No, I enjoy it. Go for it.
Okay, so the next song will be called Satchel of Helpful Goods. I don't really want to go over it now. I don't want to think about it at the moment. I know what it is. Well, too bad, Jeebus. That you started this problem in the first place with your question. Knight of the Round Fable. Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and my satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches a time, comes to an end. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Or will I travel all alone? That's when I look for my sacrifice of solvency and my satchel filled up with bones. Yeah, that satchel now nothing but home. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 Hello, hello. Is there anybody in there? Well, thanks, Jeebus. You guys hear that? Good news. That song didn't suck too bad. Wonderful news for me. Hi, Mikey Whiteside. Hi, John. Thank you for your applause. David Costi, I really appreciate it. I know that just went to I had no friends, but Cameron's here currently visiting from Los Angeles, an IRL friend that I did not meet through the YouTube channel.
This is true.
It is true. I'm also here with my beloved wife, whom I did meet through the YouTube channel. And in Los Angeles, I have my beloved daughter, who, I will point out, had nothing to do with my YouTube channel. But it is the case that largely I hang out in live streams and stuff with people on YouTube, and I know those people and sometimes chat with them and stuff and have them come visit as well, because obviously you're going to find more capacity to find people that you like and have a natural connection with when you have the whole world to talk to, and when the whole world, only those people who particularly already like you are around a lot. So obviously that's a good situation for getting along well. A little bit, Jeebus, not too bad. Okay, next song is called Cloudy Day in Los Angeles. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving to those who stay awake all night, and mostly voices say to give in. They'll try to sap your will to find. But whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten, is sort of based on what I see here, on what I want. It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles, and today we run out of time. Struggles past, troubles still to come. The day is nearly done. Will someone buy us some more time? Cloudy day in Los Angeles, cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say, something to say. Yeah, I am gonna have to get that fixed, Jeebus, but it's fine. You don't need to make a GoFundMe. It's on my list of things to do. So, for those who've not heard them before, those songs are original songs, and I've written them different times, and Rachel and I play them together sometimes, and she sings, but she's not always, yeah. As well because of the Adderall. I don't really want to talk about it at the moment, but I'll give you the basic first step of it is you need to get, I think it's $5,000 in total campaign contributions, and then register with the Federal Elections Commission or office or whatever it is. That's the first step, and then set up and keep a separate campaign account, etc. Stuff like that. It's boring tea stuff. Victor is not being silly, Jeebus, okay? Just because you want to be shitty about stuff. I mean, that's not going to be an issue, Jeebus. I'm not interested in discussing this any further with you, frankly, so. Did you vote for Meet Kevin? I don't know what that means. I'm not going to play Old McDonald. Instead, I'm going to play this hot new jam I heard as a cover You're gonna like it. It's called Row, Row, Row Your Boat Gently Down the Stream. No, Jeebus, fuck. Why are you worrying about such stupid ass shit? Like what my teeth look like. Just, I told you, I guess I'm gonna have to get these fixed before I run for office. But in the meantime, can we not concern ourselves with such insignificant, stupid ass shit? The reason I haven't gotten fixed yet is because it doesn't fucking matter. Meet Kevin ran for governor a couple years ago. He's a famous YouTube guy. He's a YouTube guy. Oh, really? Did he win the governorship? And just because you haven't been around in a long time doesn't mean I want to explain a bunch of stuff that's happened since you were last here. Catch me up on everything that's happened in the last couple of years, Eric. No, Jeebus, I'm not going to go over everything that's happened in the last couple of years. I got married to Rachel, and she is an absolute angel princess. And I don't know if you were around when Rachel was around or not. Probably you were. It hasn't been that long since the last time we've seen you. Rachel remembers you, so obviously you were around for Rachel. You know, her parents approve of me now. We live in this house now in Mariposa. And it's cool, you know. We got some trees and stuff around. Here, I said I'm not gonna do this, and then I immediately started doing it for Jeebus. I know all of you are saying, why the hell are you being nice to Jeebus? Well, because, you know, if you stick at it long enough, you eventually go from hated pain in the ass to national treasure. Look at Harry Carey of the Chicago Cubs, for example. Okay, good. Looking good. Looking fresh, exciting. So exciting and new. And this is the back of the house. And there's my car. Same car. That same car. We just got the clutch replaced. I'm sure you're fascinated with that. Wow. Moments of transcendence, moments of outside. It is a great place, yes. She was selling the 10 pumpkin sweaters. What does that mean? No, I don't have a lake next to my house. Although there actually is a lake not that far from here, just down there. And there's a little stream down here. But there's no lake that you can see from my house. What Chicago Bears player stuck with it until he was a national treasure? I'll tell you who. It was William the Refrigerator Perry. I mean, it was Mike Ditka. It's 11:20 p.m. in daylight, and it's 8:20 p.m. in California. The stream at the bottom of the gully, I don't. Are you talking about her boobs? Is that what you're talking? I really don't know what you're talking about, but if you said sweater pumpkins, I would have assumed you were talking about her having boobs, which she does have boobs because she is a woman. Um, and yes, you're in Michigan, so it's actually not 11:20 p.m. where you are, Victor. It's at oh yeah, I guess it is 11:20. Is it because you? I thought Michigan was 2 hours. Michigan's 3 hours ahead of it? Okay. If Michigan, if you want to be in the Eastern time zone, you go ahead. Be in the Eastern time zone. You just go right ahead. How's Michigan this time of year, Victor? Pumpkins, but you said pumpkin sweaters. TWFP pumpkin sweaters.
Sweater pumpkins.
I'm sure that's why I was assuming you must have meant sweater pumpkins, which are obviously it must be boobs. I'm assuming. I've not heard the expression before. But I was figuring that must be what you meant. Hot as hell. It's been pretty hot around here too. It's on the warmer side today. You still talk with Becky? Oh God, no. Jeebus, you got to be joking. You know better than that. That horrible woman. Hi, simple girl. Rachel is in the other room, but she might be in the chat. I don't know. Jeebus, Jeebus, Jeebus. You know what? I want you to think to yourself, how can I make a favorable impression upon everybody? And then muse about some possible things you could do to earn the favor and goodwill of everyone around you. And then, if you're not sure, don't say it. Jeebus, you are not listening to me, are you? I'm a communist. I'm from Russia. Russia's not communist anymore. Now they're a kleptocracy.
Mm-hmm.
Jeebus, do you have a moment to talk about MAPA? M-A-P-A? That's Nog. That's Nog? No, Jacob 540. Jeebus, you're objectifying and obviously being condescending and insulting to Simple Girl. Simple Girl, you're saying basically is Simple Girl is another way of saying slut. Okay? So, accordingly, I'm going to say no, not necessarily. MAPA, according to Casey Jones, is his organization that he's supporting called Mothers Against Penis Atrophy. It is his thing he's been interested in. So, I don't know which mothers. I will point out that he shouldn't necessarily exclude mothers in law, although almost everybody does. That's a bit too crazy, though. What's a bit too crazy? Apparently, it's a disorder that happens when your penis doesn't do enough. It gets bored if it just sits around all the time. Do you believe there are other life forms in the big universe? What do you think, Cameron? Do you think there are aliens?
That's hard to answer. They gave us a bunch of information that made anyone talking about aliens seem totally out there and stupid over our whole lifetime, and then the last couple of years we've been getting all this information that, you know, there's the government guy who testified and said there's all kinds of stuff, and there are those videos that now aren't necessarily questioned, and you see a video of a ship go a ship going and traveling into the water, and you know it's
Hard to know what's
interesting time
America
right now.
Yeah,
So
it's an interesting time, is right.
maybe they're just trying to fool us into just thinking about some dumb stuff. I don't know. I really don't know, but I haven't seen aliens myself, so I don't know. I'll tell you if I do.
What guy thinks the Earth is flat? I don't know. I'm sure, Jacob. Let's not position everything as nefarious. Okay. I have this kind of guitar. It's called Lutd. His name's kind of hard to pronounce. Lutd, and it's from the Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, one of those countries like that. It's quite a nice guitar to play. I like it a lot. It's a lot easier to play than my old acoustic guitar. And this bass, that doesn't even have any like brand on it or anything. But this bass is kick ass. Everybody who knows instruments who's touched this bass is like, oh my god, this bass is so nice. Let's discuss chemtrails and flat Earth. Okay. I don't believe in chemtrails, and flat Earth is an interesting phenomenon. Like, it's an event that it's a reality that it's informative about how much distrust of institutions, like gatekeeper institutions, people have now. Obviously, flat Earth doesn't withstand any scrutiny because there are so many powerfully compelling reasons to believe the Earth is as we've been told, including, for example, I can give you a very intuitively obvious explanation of the seasons with a lamp and a basketball that I can't explain with flat Earth.
You can also see a round Earth from the sky. That satellite photos. You see a sphere that rotates. It's not a flat thing that's changing all the time like a TV screen.
How do I stay so slim? I don't do anything. Well, thank you for saying so, Victor. You've been a wonderful audience. I appreciate it. I don't really do anything. I just have a fast metabolism. So Winston's mom likes to say I'm an ectomorph. What does that mean? Basically, it means that you don't really get that fat, really. I guess. I guess that's basically what it means.
There are three types. There's a mesomorph and some other morph. One is like sort of fat generally. One of them is very muscly, and the ectomorph is the sort of long, lean, long distance runner sort of a body, from what I recall.
The people from Kenya body.
Yeah.
If you're a Kenyan long distance runner, you're an ectomorph. I'm not from Kenya, but I play one on TV.
Ecto, endo, and meso. Those are the three ones. I don't know which one is the body, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger, but one of them is.
As you said, ecto, endo, and what?
Meso.
Meso. And which one's meso?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
There's endomorph and mesomorph as the ones that aren't ectomorph.
No, Cameron declined the Adderall I offered him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but since the Earth, is round, I think people believe it's flat because of gravity. No, people believe it's flat. They don't believe that it's flat, exactly. What they believe is that it's more likely that the powers that be tell us a lie about the shape of the Earth than it is likely that we've been told the truth. It's representative of a deep distrust of gatekeeper institutions that have traditionally gatekept knowledge. And with some very good reason sometimes, there are, for example, there's plenty of good reason to question the integrity of NASA, given that there are multiple instances of them presenting doctored images to the public. Right, so it's like Jacob kind of demonstrates here. he said, you know, what don't they lie about? It's more like if they lie about the shape of the earth, what don't they lie about? Well, it's more like if I want to believe they'll lie about anything, then they'll even lie about the shape of the earth. That's how much these people are liars. But it's not evaluating the question of the earth's shape based on whether or not it fits in with existing other explanations. So, for example, evolution's bullshit, but almost everybody affirms evolution as the sciencey thing, right? But we should negate evolution because it actually doesn't make any sense. The globe, the globe notion makes a lot of sense. You know, it it's it explains the seasons, um, and why it's colder at the poles. You know, it explains why we're able to have satellites. It explains lots of things. You know. Jeebus, I don't really even want to get into it at the moment. I'm getting into it all the time. If you want to see any of my videos on evolution, just channel search the word evolution. I'll have videos that are very specifically about that topic and explain in great detail. Okay. It's like, for example, Jeebus, you reportedly or perhaps affirm evolution, but I don't think you really know what you affirm. Like, what do you think evolution? What do you think evolution's explanation is? Do you think it's sexual selection of positive mutations? Thanks, Jacob 540. I mean, I don't. I'm definitely not a professor. I'm a retired competition flow debate coach. So you could call me an expert and among the best of the experts on determining what's correct, what's incorrect, what's the winning argument from a disinterested perspective. So I do tend to lecture about what's correct rather pedantically, of course. Nobody listens to me. Most people dismiss me for reasons like the one that you just presented. Like, you don't like my tone or the affect that conveys, I think I'm the gauge of all knowing or whatever. But yeah, I could drop a link to evolution videos. The reason evolution is embraced, the most important thing to remember is this. The reason people affirm evolution is because it's been positioned since Darwin basically as a battle between evolution and religion. And so people think, you know, you either affirm the science explanation, which is evolution, or you affirm creationism because you're some sort of fundamentalist. That's the only reason evolution has survived up until this point as a theory that people agree with, because if it had been scrutinized like any other actual science theory, it would have been scrapped and abandoned a long time ago. It doesn't withstand any scrutiny. It doesn't validate on the predictions that it does make. And to the extent that it doesn't invalidate, it's because it's not making any predictions. There's a contradiction implicit in how it defines species, um, and so because you can't meaningfully define species the way you do and expect the change to a new species to occur via that same mechanism, then now they want to say, like, well, we just don't have any definition for species. Except we do know that every species has a distinct genome. So it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It's one of the most frustrating things in all of human history. Well, I mean, Jeebus, that kind of what is called gradualism, that had to be scrapped sometime back. The idea that, well, we slowly evolved over the course of 4 billion years had to be scrapped sometime back because the fossil record shows a succession of extinction events. It shows complex organisms emerging from almost nowhere, and over the course of like 10 million years, a whole shit ton of them, and then no new organisms emerging for reasons evolution can't explain, right? So Religion can agree with evolution. I'm not. I don't claim that that religion provides any explanation either. I'm saying I'd like to have an actual explanation for where the species came from, and evolution is easy enough to invalidate if you spend the time working on it. It's more challenging to invalidate than most things because it keeps conflating genetics and evolution in its own work. So anytime you see somebody saying more proof of evolution, they're probably just showing that individual organisms expressing different phenotypes of a given genotype show variation, and subpopulations can become differentiated from other populations due to certain environmental pressures. And the one we can all imagine it, I have no idea where we came from. That's the problem, right? You didn't get muted, Dylan Weaver, did you? I don't think I muted you. But it's possible. I don't remember what you said or anything. I don't remember. The point is, I would like to have an answer for a sciencey answer that explains the mechanism by which the different species came to occupy their various niches in the environment. We don't have one currently. I would love to have one. It's like, look, for evolution to successfully do its job, and that's what we need to remember. What we should be asking ourselves is this: when we hired gardeners to mow the grass, let's look and see if the grass has been mowed. If it's not, let's not pay the gardener. So evolution claims to explain where species come from, but if it were to do that, then we would be able to test that mechanism with something with very fast generations like fruit flies. No matter how many generations of fruit flies we breed, and no matter what sports we breed for in order to differentiate between distinct subpopulations of fruit flies, we can never get them to be anything other than fruit flies. And because the generation is very, very rapid compared to, say, humans, we definitely have sufficient time to show at least some movement towards a new species rather than just a breed. And you'll note, in reality, nature could never apply the kind of selective pressure that human beings can purposefully apply just by incident. Now, we can imagine how, let's say, evolution works like this. This is the grokking evolution in the way that people can intuitively grasp it. We've got a population of bears. This population stays here and stays the same because the environment stays there. This population, the land breaks off and it goes floating away as an island or something. Now they're isolated. There's not as much food available, so the larger bears don't have enough to eat and die. But there's just enough food available so that the smaller bears can scrape by. And over generations, the larger the bears all get killed off, and it's only the smaller of the bears that survive, right? And so over time, you end up with a subpopulation of so-called pygmy bears or small bears and another subpopulation of large bears. That's all well and good. But here's the thing. You'll note that process involves no mutation, and that in the absence of those distinct environmental pressures that are limiting the range of expression of the genome, the population will revert to the genomic mean. So everything we know about evolution tells us the opposite of what it says. Instead of differentiating to separate species from a single genome, it pushes differentiation back towards the genomic mean. And if we were to let all the dogs go, all the wildly extreme ones would die, and we'd go back to kind of medium meow dog, right? We wouldn't see all of a sudden like the Chihuahuas find the Chihuahuas and the Great Danes find the Great Danes, and they make separate populations and turn into separate species. We would not see that at all. But most importantly, The reason evolution is wrong has absolutely nothing to do with God. It has to do with what the job of a science theory is and whether or not evolution has done its job. It has not. Nobody should think it has. Science theories that do their job make predictions that you can test that will either validate or falsify the theory. I'm not still alive, I'm live again. Who's obsessed with whom? You can't even be 100% Irish or many things without interbreeding. I've gained 30 pounds. Should I send your tummy pic? No, thank you. God is a coping mechanism for people who don't want to get educated. Okay, well, maybe so. Maybe it's a coping mechanism, or maybe it's a mechanism for people who want to change something about themselves or their lives. How about that? God ought not be an explanation for things. It can only be wrong if it's an explanation. If we understand it properly as a behavior of prayer that one engages in to manifest some humility or other quality of spirituality or whatever you want to call it, then it's neither right nor wrong. It's just like jogging. Look at that guy jogging. How wrong he is. You can't be right or wrong jogging. Might be a good or a bad idea for you to jog, but certainly other people aren't going to be able to determine that for you. And that's jogging. Replace jogging with some kind of religious life, that involves prayer. Obviously, no other person can tell you whether you should go jogging in that fashion or how you should go jogging in that fashion. And obviously, nobody should think that their jogging proves any statements about the universe. It was an action they did, not an affirmation or an explanation or a set of facts or something like that. So when we remember these distinctions need to be made, then we stop being so wrong all the time. But of course, here I am repeating the same thing I've said a million times before, because new people come around and need to have their same wrongnesses that other people need to have corrected. They have to think these guys are corrected.
Did you say antibiotics?
Well, yes, Jacob 540. People go jogging because it's a way of changing the way they feel, working out. It's a way of dealing with stress. It's people do things for a variety of reasons. Like, why am I live streaming right now? Well, because I want you to understand things better. I want to explain things to you. Would it be less okay or more okay for me to be doing this if I wanted to show you my new dance? It would be the same okay. Because it's what I want to do. Is it a coping mechanism to do this? Well, sure, I guess it's like coping with the fact that I want to do this right now and solving that by doing it. Does that count as coping? Is live streaming an important part of my life? Yes, it's an important thing that helps keep me happy, fulfilled, etc. Does that mean it's bad? No, that means it's good. But if you want to have no coping mechanisms and just, like let's say you're sleeping and your arm falls asleep because you're sleeping on it, it gets all tingly. Just let it stay that way. All right? You don't need a coping mechanism like moving your limb. Just let it stay that way indefinitely until an earthquake happens. I don't want your picture. Jesus, it's hot in here, says Ananova. Nothing proves there is or wasn't an explosion. What proof you guys? What are you guys talking about? So the universe did not come from an explosion. Something cannot come from nothing, so it must have a unique creator to have such a unique design. But minus one, you're just pushing back the question of where something came from nothing. What about the creator? Where did it come from? Did it come from nothing? It always was. Okay, well, fine. If you're going to think that things can always be, then there's no reason for you to think that something can't come from nothing, because after all, if things have always been, then they don't have to come from anything. I just joined it, you got mad, though. Huh. If there's nothing, then how protons and neutrons from the Big Bang? I mean, well, if there's nothing, then, I mean, if something can't come from nothing, then where did God come from? The point is, we don't have an explanation for where the universe came from. Neither God nor the Big Bang is an adequate explanation. And I'm not sure if, given the nature of the cosmological question and how implicit in it is the idea of linear time moving forward, I'm not really sure if we could even possibly conceive of an answer that would feel satisfying to the question of how the universe started. He wants explanations to be intuitively satisfying, not just full of technical verbosity and unsubstantiatable claims. I can prove you're made out of components of a star. Out of components of a star, carbon. I can't prove the book. Well, I mean, you can't really prove that the carbon's from the star. That's our current explanation of it. But one would have to ask the question, well, where was it before that? What was it? In what state of being was it? I get that solar fusion certainly enables alchemies that we can't accomplish here on Earth, probably, but the point is, we would love to have an answer of origins. But cosmological origins, I don't think we can really even conceive of. I can't conceive of any answer that would be satisfying, right? Every answer that I can conceive of elicits the question, okay, well, what about before that? Or how did that start? Or whatever. I mean, I'm not made out of carbon. I'm made out of meat. I'm made out of meat and blood and spit. That's why y'all cannot accept the fact that God was never made. He was infinitely there. No, I'm willing to accept that -1. But then you have to agree that you can no longer say something can't come from nothing. Because if, in fact, God was already there and infinitely there from before, then he didn't come from anything, right? So it is the case that something can come from nothing. You can't have both ways. That's all I'm saying. You can have, okay, -1. The point is, you can't shift frames of reference from requiring causality for all things to negate the Big Bang, but not requiring it for God, your alternate explanation. That's what you can't do, right? That's why you shouldn't argue about God. Remember, when you have a good relationship with God, do you understand God? Your relationship with God is personal, subjective, and it's a behavior, not an affirmation. You shouldn't predicate explanations about things on your relationship with God. God doesn't want you to do that. He's very upset at that. Trust me, he must be, because it's fucking horrible and evil to think you can explain things with magical thinking frames. That's not what they're for. Jeebus, time out for general shittiness. It's going to give you a minute, but, you know. The higher power, you know what we can all agree on? Even if you don't believe in God, we should all agree on the Holy Ghost. Why? Because he's our civilization's, our humanity's first paranormal star. Yeah, I know. He was being super annoying. It's not like he ever had a golden period where he wasn't annoying. Okay, just to clarify, he was around the channel a lot, probably some time back, and he was annoying then too. So, I don't want you guys to feel like you earned him being especially annoying or something. He's always like that. Why is this live more interesting? Law. This live is more interesting than what? It's more interesting than... Well, I'm not saying the Big Bang Theory is an explanation at all, -1. I don't believe that astrophysicists have explained lots of things at all adequately, and yet they all seem to advocate their dumbass notions like dark matter and dark energy, which is just, well, gosh, we predicted this and the actual measurements are so different from our predictions. Gosh, I guess there must be, it couldn't possibly be that our predictions are wrong. I guess it must be that there's magical dark matter and dark energy out there to explain all the missing mass and energy. It's completely nonsense. It's more interesting because I'm here, says Jeebus. This channel rocked when I was here. Okay, well, Jeebus, obviously, one thing that you can't know, but you can know that you can't know, is what it's like when you're not here. Because obviously, you're not watching the streams that you don't participate in. You're far too self-absorbed for that. Somebody accused me of being a pedestrian. I have a car, mister, and I'm very lazy. I think it's all expansion, but doesn't exactly mean anything about a Big Bang, but what and who can survive through what and how. The thing is, it's conceivable that, obviously if you extrapolate backwards, then it would seem that everything is coming from some sort of central origin point. But I'm not sure that we ought to claim to have any notion about what that means. I just wanted to point out the Bible says the moon will turn red in the end times. And scientists have announced the moon is resting. Well, I'm not worried about biblical end times because I'm not trying to understand what's going to happen in the future by looking to the Bible. That's not a good way to figure out what's going to happen or explain things or any stuff like that. If you feel like reading the Bible and that's your jogging that helps you to feel connected to God, then fine. But once you close that Bible, don't think that you should... It's not a reference book to explain things, okay? Like, gosh, what should we do? There's a tsunami coming. Well, let's look at the Bible. I think we should build an ark. No, that's not going to work. Just get to high ground. I don't see anything in the Bible about escaping walls of water by reaching high ground. It says you're supposed to build an ark. Now, who has a cubit to foot translating slide rule? I am a Christian. I'm not a Bibleist, okay? Like, you'll know, Jesus didn't write the Bible, and he's quoted in it not that much compared to almost everything in the Bible is not a quote of Jesus. God's quoted more often than Jesus, and I don't trust the people quoting God at all. So my point is, no, I'm not a lukewarm Christian. My Christianity was a critical component in my quitting drinking alcohol over 10 years ago. I pray regularly, maybe not quite as often as you, but to suggest that my relationship with God and Jesus is less robust than yours because yours is dumber than mine is both wrong and offensive. I don't know what even Pizzagate is. What is that shit? It's your coping mechanism. You're entitled to it, but don't call us idiots for not following along. I'm not calling you idiots for not following along. I was talking specifically to Jeebus and -1. What bottle over where? This? It's soy sauce. And this is water. I don't drink the soy sauce, obviously. I should have put it back in the fridge, but I used it earlier on my rice. You'll notice that I have what appears to be beer in the fridge, but it's actually non-alcoholic. However, right now, I think I prefer to drink one of these Arnold Palmers. Arnold Palmer was the first man ever to put iced tea and lemonade together. So they named the drink after him. I said, wow, you're not only a good golfer, but you invent beverages. No, Jeebus, I disagree. I don't think -1 gets to love Jesus 20% more than me just because he's more of a Bible thumper. That's my point. I think that's a bad way to love Jesus. You call it loving Jesus. Jesus calls it abuse. Jeebus. You're getting timed out again. God, you want to sexually harass my wife. You want to provoke everybody with your nonsense. No, I didn't mean to hide him. I meant to time him out. Unhide you. All right, Jeebus. So you got... did he? -1? Who are you trusting? You're trusting one of Jesus's dumbass friends. I don't trust his dumbass friends. After all, Jesus was cool. He was going to be friends even with Judas. If Judas wrote a book of the Bible, would you believe that? Because, he was a dick. What if Caesar wrote a book of the Bible? I hid you briefly, okay? It was an accident. I didn't mean to. No, thank you, Denzel. I can moderate just fine by myself. Oh, yeah, I heard about that, Dipper Klaus. I think that sounds very silly, but I'm less incredulous of trafficking kind of shit like that than I used to be, because I keep hearing about all these famous people doing all this horrible shit. Sorry, tell me if I'm out of line and what I'm saying. Y'all don't want any discussion, that's fine. I don't want to say anything. What did you say? I don't think anybody's talking anything to you. Do some of you all know what the pools of computers working on blockchains to solve these problems for cryptocurrencies are even doing? They pool together and solve problems we can't before they change. I like that topic just fine. I do feel like I've got a pretty good understanding of how crypto blockchains work for somebody who doesn't really understand it. But why -1? You can't even get multiple of us to agree about anything. Even if we were to watch exactly the same event, if it involved people doing stuff, we'd have totally different perspectives on it. My point is, if you're worshiping the Bible, then you need to probably just get rid of God and Jesus and stuff. Just worship your book. That's fine. You want to worship it? Go for it. Go right ahead. Yeah, I might consider it a false idol, but if you want to worship a false idol, you go right ahead. Because you know what? I'm not going to tell you how to run your magical thinking, friend. Are you afraid of Drew Peacock? And what's your thoughts? I don't know who Drew Peacock is. Derek Curry. Why are you always talking smack when I come in? I've had enough, says Show Media. Oh, it's fine, Show Media. I won't talk any more smack. Okay, so if you were a cop, would you ask someone who did not see the crime to give you evidence, or would you ask an eyewitness who's seen the crime? I would say, given that there's no witnesses, there's no evidence left except for these eyewitness testimonies that were put down not even under affidavit, that we can't draw any conclusions. You know, I'll acknowledge the key points of Christianity as key points of my faith. The ultimate virtue is forgiveness. God gave his only son so that we could attain that forgiveness through his death, that he resurrected, all that stuff, you know. That's fine. Those are the principles of Christianity, the core elements of it. But I'm obviously not going to take seriously a book in which a group of boys taunting a bald guy empower the bald guy to call down bears to maul the boys, and that's somehow just. It's ridiculous. I mean, who wants to have to believe in some garbage like that in order to have faith? I don't. I mean, I get faith is belief in the absence of evidence or in the face of contrary evidence, but that doesn't mean I have to have faith in things that are patently absurd. And I shouldn't. And I won't. After all, it's a behavior, not a set of arguments. All right, let me start smoking some bowls so that we all win a prize. And that prize is called Important, Significant, Joy, and Importance. Let me ask you this. He doesn't love us all like that, Jacob 450540. He doesn't love us all with his penis, okay? He loves us all with his agape. His agape is like platonic love, but Catholic love, you could say. I'm not Catholic, but that's their term, agape. What do you think about BRICS and the U.S. dollar devalue? You mean BRIC nations? I think the devaluing of the U.S. dollar is understandable. I think it's indicative that we should probably keep a larger chunk of currency in precious metals. I should probably make that happen. The wife's in bed already. It's 9 o'clock, but she's not feeling especially wakeful. Although if she's listening to this, which she might be, I would say to her, Rachel, I'm thinking about wrapping up this stream in a bit and watching the Naked and Afraid. It does seem to be a new episode, as far as I can tell. You know how tricky it is with the Naked and Afraid. But I was thinking about wrapping up this stream, and if you felt like it, and we could watch the Naked and Afraid. And yeah, all right, cool. So come on in here then, and then I'll wrap this up and we'll do that. Sounds like a fun adventure of learning. You could call this show Filthy Butt Cheeks. That's really what you get in this show. You get people who they arrive for day one, they're all clean and everything, and then like 2 hours later, they're just completely covered in felt. It's just like there's nothing in the world that you could do that is more dirty than being on Naked and Afraid. Well, Moonlight Grove, I don't think that Jesus has a problem with homosexuals. I think he's fine with them. He's like, "What up, my homo?" And the homosexual's like, "Hey, Jesus, how you doing? Are you cool with me?" And he's like, "I'm totally cool with you." Don't listen to those tards. They don't know. They were just scared of you. Why were they so scared of me? You know, because homos are different than what they expect. Because they're like, "Oh, but you're the same. What are you doing?" And then they get all like fussy about it. They see it as linking to a general change that's scary and rejecting of what's important to them. But oh yeah, Jesus is definitely a white American. For sure. For sure. The guy has it going, no freezer weed tonight, a no freezer weed tonight, a no freezer weed. Oh, you could have a child because someone on OnlyFans law. Oh no, you could have a child because someone on OnlyFans. I'm not sure how that means. I think it's how people raise their kids because I doubt someone who loves all his children don't love them because their sexuality. Yeah, Jesus is definitely a white American. And you know, unlike regular Americans, he can be from more than one state at the same time. He's kind of from California, but he's kind of from Texas. He's kind of from Kansas, and he's kind of from New York City. No, Jeebus, Rachel is not on OnlyFans. I do not want to share my wife's naked body with other people. I look like the guy off Devil's Rejects. You look like that guy off Devil's Rejects. I don't know what that means. Jesus wears MAGA hats and bumps Kid Rock. No, I don't think Jesus wears MAGA hats or bumps Kid Rock. Jesus wears a very subtly, a shirt that very subtly says Strauss 2028. And he's mostly, almost always playing Chappie Tracks, which is my playlist of great songs. It's not easy if they get influenced later and end up with some guy who brainwashed them. Who brainwashed who? Nobody's got a brainwash rock. All right. I'll see y'all later. Rachel's here. We're going to watch a little Naked and Afraid. Well, it is Naked and Afraid. What's it called? XL?
XL.
Yeah. They have a group of people. And they're called the Proving Grounds. They have to go 40 miles in 40 days. And this episode is called Big Group Energy. So thanks for all being here and providing our big group energy. And until next time, we love you very much and sleep well.